when they first approached me, the New York Times, and they said, hey, what can you tell us about your neighbors? I said, I'll talk to you, but I do not want my name used in anything. I do not want to be public at all because these people are scary.
Hi everyone, welcome to Navigating. Here at Navigating, we explore how people from all walks of life are finding their way through today's complex and changing world. One of the best ways to reach a wide audience these days is through social media. This is especially true for messaging in today's political climate. My guest, Emily Baden, is a pro-democracy activist who has always been politically outspoken and now communicates to an impressive social following. She also has her own interesting claim to fame after a very unusual encounter with one of the Supreme Court justices. Hi, Emily.
Hi.
We start by laughing because, yes, it was unusual.
Very unusual.
Yeah. I don't know if we want to start with that or if we want to start talking about you. Let's talk about your history first.
Okay, cool.
What brought you into this world, what you're doing now. I think I have read you're an actress.
Yes.
And you were a director or assistant director or something.
Yeah. So over the years, I've done a lot of work in film and television. I used to live in New York City. And I'm a member of the Actors Union, SAG-AFTRA. And I've always, been a part of the film and television industry. So that's basically my background. But this, speaking publicly, on social media or with news organizations.
It's different, isn't it?
It's a new development.
It is, isn't it? But what did you do when you were in New York? I saw your IMDb and something about Kimmy Schmidt and talk about that for a minute because I know people who just adore that show.
Me too, and sometimes I'll still get messages from people who are like, "Did I just see you in season 4, episode 4?" And I'm like, you did.
That's great.
It's such a funny show. It is such a funny show. Tina Fey, I am obsessed. Everything she's ever done is so brilliant and so funny.
She's so unusual for one thing.
She's amazing.
She allows herself to be herself, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always loved that about her, that she doesn't do facial surgery. She allows herself to wear glasses. She's just a person who's so brilliant.
She's so funny. So when I lived in New York and I was working in film and television, obviously you don't make a complete living off of that. So I was working in restaurants.
I was going to say, were you a waitress?
I was, yeah.
See, that's what
I worked at a steakhouse in Times Square and I waited on Tina Fey one time.
Oh.
And I was very cool about it. I was like very normal, but on the inside, I was freaking out. Like, she's so nice.
And she's your hero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I did my job.
Did you
was very
talk
cool.
to her at all about her being her?
No.
You just served
no.
her, yeah.
Yeah, I just was like very professional.
Yeah.
But on the inside.
Yeah.
And when I would like leave the private dining room after giving my little spiel, I would be like, oh my God, you guys.
God. I know. So I had something similar where I waited on Whoopi Goldberg.
Oh my God.
When I was a waitress.
Oh my
God.
God.
I was like, did you want coffee? It was a breakfast kind of place. And she was there with some friends. And I just stayed cool as a cucumber.
Yeah, you have to. But the place I worked at was in the theater district. So we got a lot of really exciting guests.
Who else did you get to wait on? That's pretty fun.
Who else did I wait on? Well, the time that she was there, she was with like other comedy icon Rachel Dratch. And, so that was incredible. Who else came in? Oh, Lauren Graham came in, Gilmore Girls. And all the girls I worked with, we were all freaking out. Who else came in?
It pays to work in the theater district,
it does. Yeah, it does. I waited on Joe Lieberman one time. That was kind of cool.
That's kind of fun, though.
Yeah.
Huh?
David Dinkins, all kinds of like New York,
Yeah. He was probably really sweet.
Dinkins, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Well, but it's interesting. Both of us had to be waitresses as we were trying to build careers, I was really happy when
it's a great job. I mean,
it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although, I don't know about you, but I could only handle the breakfast information once I got to lunch and there were more orders. Forget about dinner. I always tell people, it's been a lot easier for me to produce films and television than it was to be a waitress.
It's a hard job. Like anybody who says that it's unskilled labor, they've never done it before.
No,
They
you
have no
gotta
idea.
you have to have this memory thing going all the time. Like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, there's salads. They wanted salads too. you
Yeah.
know? And then you look across the room because, of course, you want good relationships, and they're kind of glaring at you, and
Yeah.
you're afraid you've already blown it.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Well, yeah. So, how many people we see in Hollywood or in Los Angeles and New York? I mean, we know when they come to ask for our order, when they come to the table to wait on us, they may have this whole other life where they've
100%.
written a script that's
Yeah.
brilliant, but it's hard to be found and it's hard to be noticed and hard to
Yeah.
sell and all of that. But yeah, you come to respect that. Once you've done it yourself, you tip high,
Yep.
you respect them.
Yeah.
When they apologize profusely because they feel like they've blown it, you
Yeah.
just give them a pass.
You're like, it's fine.
Yeah, that's
Tell
really
them how to
funny.
unionize their workplace.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So, well, that's really interesting. And what other acting jobs did you have that would be notable?
Notable, all kinds of things. I mean,
Yeah.
so I always say that there's some statistic about SAG-AFTRA where the majority of actors who are in the union don't make their entire living off of acting and performing. And oftentimes they're doing union jobs that aren't even like on camera. So
Right.
they'll be like a stand-in
Right.
or like some type of second team crew or something like that.
Right.
It's still a union job. Like it still goes toward your pension and your insurance days and all
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah.
But so often if you say you're an actor, people will be like, oh, what have I seen you in?
Oh,
And
yeah.
you're like, well, maybe this, maybe that, but mostly just like hustling behind the
Yeah.
scenes.
Yeah, yeah.
And being a stand-in on, there was something that filmed out here where I was Helen Hunt's stand-in.
Oh,
Because I
really?
guess we're the same height and
Oh, yeah.
coloring and all of
Yeah.
that. That was really fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just little things like that.
And you directed too, right?
On a couple of like student projects. Yeah. So I like to be all over. I love film and television. I
Yeah.
mean, honestly, going back to Tina Fey, there's a character on 30 Rock, Kenneth, who says,
Kenneth, yes.
I just love television so much. And that's me.
And he said it like,
I'm
I
Kenneth.
just love television so
Yeah.
much.
And I'm Kenneth. I love television so much.
That's so great. Well, I'm happy. Here we have cameras for you, and there's lights, and yeah, that's great. Well, you're in your element there.
Yeah.
So you were living. I think we'll just segue over to the Justice Alito story.
Yeah.
Because I'd like to hear in depth. You came into my television studio when I still owned. And here's the plug, San Francisco Media Group, which I just loved and had to let go of because of COVID and
Yeah.
all the, it was too hard to keep running a studio. But you were a guest on Erin Burnett's show. And, because it's the mainstream news, she didn't probably have a huge amount of time to talk with you about it.
No.
And you didn't get to go in depth. So let's do that now. What's the narrative? How did it all start?
It happened so fast.
Yeah.
Like going back to the beginning,
Yes.
when the New York Times, Jodi Kantor reached out to me and said, hey, what can you tell me about your neighbors? I'm doing a story. And I said, well, I actually could tell you a few things about them, probably nothing that you're interested in hearing, more just like that they're not the nicest people.
Well, what's the story behind the reporting, though? You came out of your house one day, and what happened?
Yeah, so I'm a lifelong and proud anti-fascist. So I hate fascists and I hate Trump also. It's the same thing. And so around the election season, I made a homemade sign for my front yard. It said, fuck Trump on it. It was glitter and cursive. It was so pretty.
So pretty.
And
It wasn't just ugly and offensive in that way.
and they obviously didn't like it because they are MAGA Trump people.
Now we have to talk
and so
about who they are.
Oh, yes. Supreme Court Justice Alito.
And his wife.
And his lovely wife. And they took it upon themselves to begin harassing me, my mom, my family.
Oh.
It was a really weird
See,
weird
even I
time.
haven't heard this part.
Yeah.
What kind of harassment?
Yeah. Well, the main one, there were a few, but the main one is that about in the front yard, like pulling in the garbage bins or something, and they walk up. They're walking by on a walk or something like that. And they go, well, if it isn't the fucking fascist, Emily Baden. And then they said my mom's full name, and they said my now husband's full name.
And how
which
did they,
is
well, they'd
scary.
obviously done research to find out who you and your mother.
Exactly.
And they're using the F-bomb too.
Yeah, fucking fascist.
Yeah.
And on the inside, I was like, let's get this woman a dictionary because,
Pick up the sign and say, oh, you mean this one here?
yeah, like, okay, but,
So that was shocking.
and it was shocking. And she like sort of ran at us. And I was just like, this is really, really scary. My husband called the cops and we said, hey, I know that you know who these people are. I know that you can connect with their like federal security that stays out of their house all the time. Like, there's got to be a way that we can stop this because it's out of control at this point. And the cops were like, no, there's nothing we can do. And I said, okay, fine.
Did they do anything before that?
Yes.
So that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying is if we could get a timeline of how it began.
Yeah,
What they
well,
did.
I mean, I would just honestly, it's a long story. I would refer to the New York Times article that came out around that time because
my
I really
producer wanted you to tell it
spoke with-
today too.
Sure, yeah.
If you don't mind.
But it goes into a lot of detail, and the author, the investigative reporter Jodi Cantor, like checked every little detail and checked with the like phone recording of the Fairfax County Police and all
Yeah.
of that. But essentially, it was never as hostile as it was that day. That was kind of like the last straw.
You could feel passive aggressive things.
But before
happening
then, it would be like they're driving past, stopping the car and like glaring in a really weird.
both of them.
Just her.
Just
the wife, yeah. So
See,
I never thought much of it. I just
Yeah.
kind of was like, okay, like they seem crazy. And then when it was both of them,
Walking together.
yeah.
Did they both use that language, or was that just her?
No, it was just her. And I remember just losing it and saying, how dare you do this to us? Because this is like the third time that we've had like an uncomfortable interaction. And I was like, how could you behave this way? You're a Supreme Court justice of the United States of America. Like, what are you doing right now?
You said directly to him.
Yes. And he's like basically running away.
Well, you see,
he's
now,
probably ashamed and
This is
scared
the thing
that he's
that's
going to
really
end up.
interesting to me. Our Supreme Court justice, who has this very aggressive wife, who he doesn't stand up to, and
Or for. Also, because he could have said,
he doesn't stand up to her or for her or try to calm the situation down in any way.
yeah, it
It
was
really
shocking.
makes us wonder about, well, we're all wondering about the Supreme Court today, but at that point, we didn't, a lot of these appointees hadn't been placed yet, but it makes you wonder, what kind of decision-making does a man like that have? What does he rely on for his own inner strength to make decisions if he can't say to his wife, let's not make a scene,
Yeah.
let's walk away?
Stop harassing our neighbors, please.
Stop- yeah. Yes, we don't like the sign, but that doesn't mean we have to swear and yell and
yeah.
whatever.
Exactly.
And he started running away.
he did.
And that's
And
very
then
wimpy.
The main part of this story, like none of that really matters, but the main part of the story is that he was approached by the media, like, hey, we saw your upside down American flag after January 6th. What's going on? And he said,
That's part two of the story, though, that after what you guys went through and after January 6th and Trump was elected, one of them at his house hung an American flag upside down
yes,
because
it was 2 weeks after January 6th.
and he didn't believe
And the
in the
symbol
election
had been
results, or
used.
she didn't, or something, and so you hang the
100%.
flag upside
Yeah,
down.
they didn't actually attend the inauguration.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because they're so
Who knows why? But
big and
we could
brave,
guess.
both of them.
Yeah.
So they hung a flag upside down, and that's when the media started getting involved.
Yes.
Yeah.
It took them a couple of years because they had received the tip, I guess, and then didn't do anything with it until last year or whenever it was. And but the main part of the story is that they said, hey, we got this tip about an upside down American flag at your house. What's going on? You're a Supreme Court justice. That's crazy. And his response was to write a letter to Congress saying that I only put an upside down American flag at my house because a neighbor said something horrible, said the worst word you could use to address a woman at my wife, and that's why we put the flag up. And the reason that I felt compelled to talk about it when I was asked by the media is because that is a lie. Because the interaction I'm telling you about happened in February, and the flag went up in January.
The following year.
The same year.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see. So the timeline's completely different.
There's no possible way that my interaction with them encouraged them to put the flag up. There's no possible way. He lied to Congress, by the way, which, as I said, is an impeachable offense. And
So, okay, so you had you created this sign after January 6th, right?
it was around the election time.
Around the election time, and
Yeah.
it was just up. You just kept it up.
It was just at the house.
Yeah. And why not keep us a lovely, beautiful piece of art
Exactly.
in your front yard?
Yeah, beautiful sparkles.
So he reversed the timeline and said it was because you said something terrible to his
Which I did, which I'm open about. But that happened in February, the day that they
later.
came to us and
Yeah.
said, "You're a fucking fascist." And I said, "Well, you're the word that he said that I said."
Clearly triggered by the election results.
Yes.
At that point,
Yes.
Biden had been elected, and he was completely flipping out and hanging a flag upside down, and then looking desperately for a reason to explain why he hung the flag
Exactly.
upside down.
And it just goes to show, like, what kind of people we're dealing with here.
Yeah, it does.
This is one of the most powerful and influential human beings in our country.
In the world.
In the world, maybe,
because
yeah.
of the effect that America has on
and
the
leaving
planet.
aside the fact that they're acting this way toward their neighbors, okay, that's bad enough. But lying to Congress
Yeah.
is not just offensive. It should be illegal. It should be an impeachable offense.
Yeah.
And so that's basically how when they first approached me, the New York Times, and they said,
Yes.
"Hey, what can you tell us about your neighbors?" I said, "I'll talk to you, but I do not want my name used in anything. I do not want to be public at all because
Right.
these people are scary."
It was really,
They are scary. They
Yeah.
used to park their security outside of our house. In fact, when the first story came
Oh.
out that didn't include my name at all, their security showed up outside of our house the next day.
and
it
parked
felt like
right
they
there
were
like
saying-
a big
Yeah.
black SUV.
It
or
felt like they
something.
were saying, "We know that
We
that
know
you're
you're
a part
here.
of this.
We know you live
even
here."
though I wasn't in the story at all." And then the New York Times followed up and they said, "Hey, the Alitos blamed you for putting the flag up. What do you have to say about that?" And I said, "That is a lie, and I can prove it. Because the day that the interaction happened, I called the cops, and there is a record
There's
of
a
it.
police report.
There is a police report."
Yeah.
And they said, "Okay, well, we'd like to investigate this because that's a huge deal." And I said, "I agree." And they said, "Can we talk with you about it? Can we publish your name, your photo and everything?" And I really had to think about it because
Yeah.
that's a terrifying prospect.
Yes.
To publicly speak out against, again, one of the most powerful and influential people in the government who aligns with
Fascism.
an openly fascist
Yeah.
president.
And I hate to say it so simply, but it
It
feels
is
like
simple, yeah,
an
I agree.
authoritarian government
100%.
he aligns with. Yeah.
And since I decided to go public, as they say, I have never felt more powerful because I can't sit by and watch my country fall to authoritarianism, watch a fascist dictator take hold and destroy everything that we have ever valued
That's
as
a
democracy.
that's a really powerful statement you just made that I think a lot of people need to hear, that going public made you feel more powerful than ever
100%.
before.
Yeah.
Because when we sit back and we're afraid, the fear just magnifies and we begin to imagine much more, like when we're children, Sometimes we have to look under the bed with the flashlight to make sure there's no monsters,
Yeah.
right? And it's like that, coming out and talking and being ourselves. So that was years ago, and here you are with me. You're okay. You've gotten married. You have, you're a happy person now, and speaking up more than ever before.
Yes.
And you wanted to talk, I know, about how crazy the day was. You came into my studio and that whole thing. So you came in because CNN heard about
Yeah.
They read the New York Times
As
article.
soon as that article came out,
Yes.
everything kind of exploded.
Yeah.
And people were calling and texting and calling my family members, people with my same last name, and saying, how do we reach Emily? They're calling my old employers, like, hey, how do we reach Emily? Like, it was insane.
Wow.
And I was talking with some of my close friends and family about it, and they said, you might consider talking to these people. You might consider trying to bring more attention to this. And I was like, kind of afraid at first, and I gave it a couple of days, and kind of wanted to let it die down a little bit, which it didn't really.
It didn't.
It was truly a bombshell story.
I was going to say, it's such a big story.
I
It
had
wasn't
really
going to die
nothing
out
to
easily.
do with, except
Yeah.
for the fact that he lied to Congress, and I might have been the only one who knew that, or I might have been the only one with proof of that. So
That's
yeah,
incredible.
CNN
That's
is like,
a really big. There's something about that you can hold
Yeah.
and feel so good about.
Yeah.
He lied to Congress. Everybody in the country
100%.
heard that lie.
Yes, they did.
And only one person, and maybe your then boyfriend too, the two of you were the only ones who knew about this.
Yeah.
And the garbage bins.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And I wanted something good to come from it.
Yeah.
Like, I know that, Raskin and AOC and Durbin, like, they were publicly calling for, court reform, first of all, like maybe term limits,
Yes.
a code of ethics, an
Yes.
actual code of ethics, which we
Yes.
still do not have. They were
Yes.
calling for his recusal off of January 6th related cases, which, by the way, he refused to do. So, like, a lot of this stuff was happening and bubbling up, and I was like, this is so great. Like, I want to see more of this. So, yeah, CNN was like, do you want to come on our live television broadcast? And I was like, fuck no. I was like, that's the scariest thing I could ever imagine.
But you changed your mind.
But I was like, okay, why not? Like,
What was that point? Because I think a lot of people would like to know the point at which you realized it would be better to do it than not. What was your internal dialogue with yourself about that?
well, that happened before the New York Times article,
Oh,
when they said, can we use your name and face? Can
Yeah.
we make you a public figure about this matter?
Yeah.
And I thought about it for a while, and ultimately I spoke with friends and family and stuff, and I just was like, if I don't, then I'll be contributing to the thing that I detest so much, which is our fascist government
and the
taking over.
passivity that would
Yeah.
allow that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so I was just like, let's do it.
Got to do it.
Let's just do it. And then so I eventually ended up coming to your studio, and I only had like 2 days notice, I think, or something like that. It was all happening very, very fast.
Yeah.
And I wanted to I was like, I'm going to be on television, like looking into a camera, and
Did they pay for hair and makeup for you?
they had hair and makeup.
Oh,
yeah.
good.
That was really fun.
Because that helps.
Yeah. Yeah.
looking,
they had hair and
looking
makeup.
good, knowing that somebody has created a look.
Yeah.
Gives confidence.
Yeah. But it was nerve-wracking, but I think I didn't fully realize, and I didn't tell anybody I was going on.
Oh, you didn't?
Because I still kind of in the back of my mind was like, maybe I'll back out. Maybe I just won't do it.
Yeah.
And then it'll be fine. So I didn't tell anybody I was doing it. And
And then you told them to tune in.
I go to the studio, and they do my hair and makeup, and I didn't know what the questions were going to be.
Yeah.
I could imagine what they were going to be.
Erin Burnett's good though, right?
She's very
She was
nice.
probably a really good interviewer.
She was very,
for you.
very nice.
Yeah.
But I didn't know what really the questions were going to be. So
Yeah.
I just had to kind of rely on my own ability to think on my feet.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, they were like, okay, we're going to they fit me with the little earpiece, and there
I
was
was
some
sorry I
type of,
missed that day. I was out of town.
Yeah.
And I heard so much about it later.
it was so crazy. There was a problem with the earpiece. I was like, I can't really hear anything. And they were like, okay, well, we have another commercial break. Like, you have like 90 seconds to figure it out. And I was like,
Well, this happened while you were.
yeah. Yeah.
What were you doing to hear her questions and reading lips?
No, I was able to hear it, but you can kind of tell in the broadcast, I'm kind of like,
Yeah. Yeah, there's a little volume knob on
Yeah.
those things.
yeah. But yeah, then they were like, okay, we're going live, and I'm looking at the screen, and she's asking me questions, and I think I blacked out. Like, I don't know how I did it. I don't know how I was able to remain calm. I don't know
Yeah.
how I was able
Yeah.
to say the thing I wanted to say, which is he lied to Congress. He has to be impeached. This is really important. We don't have to live under a Christian nationalist government
Yeah.
and a fascist dictatorship that is now taking hold. And in the year in the year since that happened, has only gotten worse.
What
And
year?
I was able to
I
say
can't
it.
remember. Was it 2023 or 4 when you?
24.
24.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it was 2024
So it took that
when the
long.
story came out. Well, that's kind of an interesting part of it,
That
too.
is interesting because this was a 2020
21.
and 2021
21, yeah.
event.
Whichever one of my neighbors, who I know who you are, but I'm not going to say your name, of course, but I salute your service, took the photo of the upside down American flag and then sent it as an anonymous tip to the Washington Post. The Washington Post followed up on it, kind of, but ultimately decided not to run anything about it or investigate it or anything like that. And that was a really big mistake, because then 2 years later, when the New York Times got a hold of the photo, they obviously ran with the story and it became international, like, bombshell news. And people were like, Washington Post, what were you guys doing? How
Yeah.
did you sit on this? And I don't remember what the answer was. I know there was an article about it.
Was it owned by Amazon already?
It probably was.
That might be.
Maybe that's it.
Sorry to say it, but that very well might have
Maybe
been
that's
an
it.
influence.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, oh,
Yeah.
we don't want to step on Alito's toes.
Yeah. And there's a lot of that happening nowadays. And
Now
that
there really
also
is.
is why I feel even more
Yeah.
empowered and like it's even that more important for me and anybody else to speak up and resist whenever we can.
Yeah.
Because all of these corporations and everything is just sort of like bowing to our fascist regime.
Yeah.
And I get why they're doing that. It's easier to do that. And you don't want to make any
It
waves.
is
and you don't
definitely
want
the
trouble.
path of least resistance. That's what I
Yeah.
see. I see it over and over again where, they decide, well, we could push back, but then we lose that funding. I don't want to
Right.
lose that funding. How about you? Okay,
Right.
let's not say anything.
Yeah.
And so when somebody does stand up, that's where you want people to get in line, or universities or corporations to get in line behind them. And we just need so much more of that. I read last night that ABC cut off J.D. Vance in the middle of something he said that was
A lie.
massively untrue. Yes, specifically something that was just completely the opposite of what is true. And they cut him off mid-sentence.
I love that.
I was
More
like,
of that.
Okay, ABC, we're having problems with some of the others, CBS,
Yeah.
et cetera. I was really pleased to see that.
Yeah, because, I talk a lot about like fascism and authoritarianism, and one of our, in my opinion, like only lines of defense right now is the freedom of the press.
Yeah.
And that is why the administration is attacking the free press so badly
right.
and winning in a lot of ways.
Winning
So
too much,
things
yeah.
like that, cutting off a verifiable lie, or even just fact checking in real time. We need to see more of that because, like Trump, for example, has told, I don't even know how many thousands of verifiable lies.
Right.
Actual, like we know that it's not true. And the media could do so much more with that. Like at a press conference, they could fact check him in real time.
This is what I miss, and he doesn't let a lot of these people into the press conferences that would do that.
Right.
You
Yeah,
know, that's
exactly.
that's a big problem.
Yeah.
And no, last night I was also reading about something called the sandwich method that was I guess it's a term that was coined maybe 2 or 3 years ago, where you you report. This is a journalistic technique. You report on a truth, and then you look at what somebody says that is actually a lie and a fib, and you claim that that's a lie because it is, and then you put the truth back under it. Anyway, I'm going to eventually do some little video about it with a demonstration to show here's the bread that's true.
Yeah.
Here's the lie squishing inside there, and then here's another piece of bread to reinforce the truth.
Yeah.
And it's so hard. What this last few days, Trump again posted on his Truth Social that the FBI had planted 270 something FBI agents on January 6th.
Yeah.
And they were the ones who started the insurrection. And it's been proven over and over that it's not true. But I stay in touch with some of his supporters online just so I can see
Yeah.
how much, it's best not to block everybody out. I'm sure you're
I
finding
agree,
the
yeah.
same thing. We don't
Yeah.
want to be in those echo chambers.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's important to see these people who,
Mm-hmm.
and pay attention to them. They're good people. They believe something that isn't true, And one woman the other day posted about this lie that he had told about the FBI agents. And she said, oh, finally the truth is coming out. Of course. Oh, this makes me so happy. I know. And I'm just like, oh boy, they're still believing this kind of thing. And it's,
Yeah.
so it's frustrating. It's heartbreaking. It makes you want to shut down, but yet you don't. So what do you do to keep from shutting down?
Yeah.
And
God,
being,
I don't know. I dissociate. I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know. But things like that, I mean, it feels like every single day we are absolutely inundated by just the most ridiculous stuff coming out of this administration.
Yeah.
And it never stops. And so I understand when people are like, I can't watch the news anymore. It's all so bad. Like, I need to take a step back and protect myself. I get that. But I mean, people are literally getting kidnapped and disappeared off the streets.
Yeah.
Okay? I mean, people are being imprisoned and deported for using their First Amendment rights. It's not safe to be quiet anymore. It's not gonna protect us by putting our head in the sand and pretending like it's not happening, or saying like it'll all work out, or maybe I'm sure we'll figure it out. I'm sure we'll get there. We will not get there. We've gone too far, and we need to we all need to unite and really, really, really do every little thing that we can to try to protect what is left of our democracy. Otherwise, we're all next.
See, that's it, is that when people say, I need to protect myself, well, it's a really thin veneer of protection at this point that you're capable of generating.
Exactly.
And that later, because you put that up and you didn't speak out, it got so much worse.
Yeah.
And at the same time, and I'm sure you do this too, we take breaks. Those of us who are activists and read all the time and see what's going on every day, we do need breaks. What do you do for a break when you need to take a break?
What do I do for a break? It's really hard to take a break. It's really hard to kind of unplug and not be aware of everything that's going on.
Maybe just a short period of time.
Yeah,
Do you do that?
I mean, I probably would. What helps me is just sort of getting outside and just
nature,
trying to, trying to forget for a little bit, like what's going on.
Yeah.
And we're, not to get like philosophical, but we're here for such a short amount of time,
No, that's important.
We have such a short, precious few moments of being alive. So I try to enjoy anything that I possibly can. And while at the same time, keeping aware of all the horrific things that are happening in the world. So maybe I'm compartmentalizing. I don't know.
Well, I think compartmentalizing is a technique that people need to use.
Yeah, I think that's what I do. I don't know how healthy it is, but...
Well, I think as long as you know that compartment's there and you're going to check on it again.
Yeah.
That's what I do, I know. I'll take a walk or I'll go out in nature and I'll notice that the birds or the ducks or the deer don't know any of this, and they're not freaking out at all.
Yeah.
And they're fine and they're living life. Or this morning, I got up really early and the sun was just coming through the clouds, and I just thought, this is one of those moments. Because you're right, we're only here for a short amount of time.
Right.
And these moments are precious, which is why mindfulness is a practice that a lot of people believe in, because, well, here I am. I've got my cup of water, I'm sitting here talking to Emily. This is a wonderful moment. But if I stay too locked up, freaking out in my head,
Yeah.
the moment itself goes by.
Yeah.
And I'll go, oh, look, there's some photos of us. Oh, we did talk, didn't we? Or something. But I think taking little breaks is really good for our health.
Yeah, I think without that you would just collapse. And
Yeah.
because, and again, it's like I get that people are like, I can't watch the news, I can't read about what's happening globally, like it's all just too horrible. And I'm like, I agree, it's all too horrible, but we can't all look away.
Do you tell people that?
I do, yeah.
Do you? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do, because I'm just like, silence will protect you a little bit, I guess, but not for long, not with what we're up against, not with the goals and like the real consequences that are happening because of this administration. Like we are all on the list, right? It's like first they came then they came for me because I didn't speak out.
Right.
We're all on that list, every single one of us. Doesn't matter if you think you're protected by maybe I'm a Republican, so they won't come after me. How many Republicans have they already deported? Mm-hmm. They're going to come for you no matter what.
Yeah.
So
and the other thing about trying to tune it out is it's in the air, basically.
Yeah.
It's the vibe. You can't really avoid, unless you really do cloister yourself. I don't know if people are capable of doing that, living in, a little commune or something, but you're going to see it on people's faces. You're going to feel it in the vibe that people are feeling scared, confused because of what you were saying about this constant barrage, this inundation of information coming in all the time that, well, then they did this, and then they did that, and then they did this. We kind of have to keep up. It's like you can't. So it is a balance. That's what I think both of us find in our lives, is that it is a balance between trying to have some fun, being out so that we feel good and we're not closed in with walls and just our phone. But knowing that, like I said, we know that compartment's there, and we'll go back
100%.
and see what else has happened, since then. And what about good news? One of the things I find that helps me a lot is to tune in to what's going on that is actually working.
I think it will help people realize that they should stand up and do something and try to resist in any way that they possibly can. I think when we hear about victories like that, as small as they may be, I think it helps galvanize other people and make them think, well, hey, maybe what I do will matter. And
that's right.
Maybe I should call my representatives. Maybe I should try to get a meeting with my member of Congress. Maybe I should go to a protest. Maybe I should plan a protest. Maybe I should speak publicly about X, Y, and Z. I think even the smallest little action will help move the needle. And I just want everybody to do whatever they can.
And in terms of action with yourself, I know you're very active on social media, talking and reporting on what you're seeing. What other kinds of things do you recommend people do, or do you do yourself?
Yeah. So before the election in 2024, I was working on this campaign to try to flip the 13th and the 27th congressional district of California, which we successfully flipped both of them. During that time, we were canvassing, phone banking, doing voter outreach, and that works. That really works. And so aside from doing that for that period of time, I'm doing that again for Prop 50.
Okay.
And
explain what Prop 50 is, just so people know.
Yeah, okay. So Prop 50 is called the Election Rigging Response Act. And we'll be voting on it here in California in 3 weeks from now, November 4th. And basically it's a response to the redistricting that happened in Texas, where they changed congressional districts in order to secure five extra GOP seats.
Right.
That's wrong. That shouldn't happen. And a lot of the argument from Democrats against Prop 50 is that, well, we need to preserve election integrity and we shouldn't stoop to their level. And really all Prop 50 is going to do is balance that out, the 5 seats.
By redistricting here in California so that we get 5 seats as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All it's doing is balancing out their illegal and completely outrageous redistricting that they did in Texas. And it's temporary.
I know. And the thing that happens when we want to, when they go low, we go high, we can't do it anymore.
Nope.
That was then.
I say that all the time.
That was then, but now we have to get down there, down and dirty.
And I hate that.
I don't like
want to
it
live in that
either.
world, but we're here.
We're not given much of a choice when
Yeah.
it's happening all around us. You can't say, well, I don't care if they're doing it. I'm just not going to do it, because people are talking about protecting themselves, but we have to protect each other too.
100%.
And we're both white women, and I feel like, it almost makes me cry to say it, but I want to use my white privilege to help people who aren't as lucky as
Absolutely.
I am in this lifetime.
Absolutely.
And if I am quiet, then I am abandoning them, and I can't do that.
I fully, completely agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. What you said about when they go low, we go high. I went to go see Kamala Harris speak at the Masonic a week ago or so. And at one point she said, we need to stop. She said something about like playing. She was like, they're not playing by the rules anymore.
Yeah.
And we need to realize that. And that's why we need to pass Prop 50. So she kind of was implying like, the reason we have to do this, it's not because like gerrymandering is cool. It's not because like we want to do it. It's because it's like literally one of the only things that we can do to fight back.
Right.
And we have to do whatever we can.
Right.
And I would like to go high when somebody goes low. I don't want to lower myself and, but
those are the standards we lived with all our lives until now.
We can't like write strongly worded letters against fascists anymore.
Yeah.
We have to actually do something.
Right.
So that's where we are.
Well, and I read last night that writing postcards to voters really helps too.
I do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and for those people who really can't get out and walk door to door and do that kind of thing, the postcards might be just the thing to help them feel like they're doing something.
Yeah. So I do a lot of get out the vote work.
Yeah.
And some of it I put on social media, but most of it is really just like in situations like this. You're talking to voters, you're writing to voters, you're calling voters, you're visiting voters. And the postcard thing, you're right. That's a really good way for people to get involved and feel like they're helping if they're not able to be out in the streets or whatnot. Something about when I do get out the vote work, I always remind people the voter turnout rate in this country is embarrassing.
It's really low, isn't it?
Like
and it was so
60
low.
something percent for a presidential 4-year election. For midterms, it's way less than that.
Yeah.
For a special election, even lower.
Yeah.
So people don't vote for whatever reason. And a lot of that is intentional. Election day is not a federal holiday. Only in a few states are you legally required to give employees time off work to vote. Not in every state. I'm sure you can imagine which ones. There's like restrictive voter ID laws. Like we're not set up for success when it comes to voting. So I don't blame people for not voting, but I do like people to be aware of that.
Yeah.
Because, for example, if I didn't vote, was a presidential candidate in 2024, that would be our president. More people didn't vote than who voted for either candidate.
I know.
That's shocking.
I couldn't believe it when I read it. I was so sad. It was like, oh man. And of course, then we begin taking it all apart, unpacking why did this happen. But that doesn't really matter. It's like, So when you're talking with voters, what kind of response are you getting right now to Prop 50? Just out of curiosity.
The only people who I am aware of, and this is just my own anecdotal experience, but the only people who I'm aware of who are against Prop 50 are people who really don't, they were like, I feel like maybe we shouldn't do that. I don't really know much about it.
Yeah.
So education is key and conversations are key.
in terms of voting in general, education is key.
100%.
And talking with
God,
people one-on-one.
before the election, I really was calling, we were calling young Democratic voters who haven't voted very often or ever. And all of that information is publicly available.
Right.
And I would talk to a lot of these young people, young women in particular, and I'd say, hey, this election is really, 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 really important. Your rights are on the ballot. Your bodily autonomy is on the ballot. And some of the response I got was, well, what do you mean by that? What do you mean? And some of the conversations, God, I will never forget. Because I said, well, for example, if we elect a Republican administration who is open about wanting a nationwide abortion ban in all situations, like no exceptions, you could die because of lack of access to health care. Like, for example, if you're having a miscarriage or an ectopic pregnancy, or if you need a DNC for like a bleeding issue or for the multiple reasons why you would need abortion care. Right. They are not going to differentiate between like a medical DNC and an abortion. Like, those are the same thing. And people will die because they cannot get that health care. And people have died. And I was able to tell them these cases of a woman in Texas, and there was another, like, who died because of lack of access. And one of the girls on the phone was like, wait, are you telling me that when I was having a miscarriage and I had to get a DNC in the hospital because I was going septic, that was an abortion? And I was like, yeah.
That's how they would classify it.
Yes. And
yes.
If we elect this Republican administration who wants to ban that, no matter what, you would have died. You would die. People will die. And now they have died. And these young girls were like, I had no idea that that was even a thing. And I was like,
yeah.
I'm really glad I got to talk to you. I
I'm
wish
so
I could talk
glad
to everyone.
You know, yeah, we have to just keep getting the word out about what's true.
Yeah.
What is true? It's kind of like that sandwich again, you know?
Yeah.
Here's, you know, they're going to keep inserting lies, and they do it so quickly. There's whole teams of liars that are doing this.
And, I
know. You know, we just have to keep doing it. The thing I keep looking at, though, is how so many people change their mind about important issues when it lands on their doorstep.
Yes.
And that's the thing. Unfortunately, out of selfishness or whatever.
Yeah.
Marjorie Taylor Greene the other day, who was like, wait a minute, my adult children can't pay for their health care premiums. Well, then that means something's wrong.
Yeah.
As opposed to, look at all these other people.
None of my constituents can, but I don't care.
But my kids.
Yeah.
So what I see happening, it appears to be kind of snowballing, that more and more people are having these issues land in their own lives to such an extent that it will help them to see things differently, like the farmers, for example, the soybean farmers. For, what was it, $80 billion a year to China for how many decades with soybeans? They would sell American farmers would sell their soybeans to China. And now, zero. And now they're going bankrupt because of the tariffs that are so fantastic.
So this is when I have to, sorry.
No, let's just adjust ourselves.
Yeah. This is when I have to control my rage, because we tried so hard to get through to these people. We tried so hard. And ultimately, misinformation won, as it tends to do.
Yeah.
And now they're realizing the consequences of what they have done and what they voted for. And you mentioned, you know, as a person of privilege, as a white woman, I feel like it's my responsibility to kind of just bite my tongue and just be like, great, I'm really happy that you are coming around and that you've been confronted by new knowledge. But
Instead
for a person who is,
it's really hard,
has been directly like their life is being threatened by this administration, I would never expect somebody who is part of a marginalized group to
Oh,
be like,
yeah.
oh, thank you so much for changing your mind. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
so glad you finally came around. No, absolutely not. Like, I'll take that burden. But I completely understand when people are like, have the day that you voted for. You deserve this. You did this.
How many
And I
people
don't get
say, yeah, how many people say, we told you so?
exactly.
I know,
They
and
deserve to hear that. They deserve to be shamed. They deserve to be ostracized. They deserve so many terrible things because the information was there. They could have made a different choice, and they should have. And I know that they're realizing that now, but it is far too late.
It's
And the
really late now.
consequences are going to be for a very long time. Now I need to control my rage, right? So I think I think some of us should embrace these people and say,
See, that's just it, though. You're
like,
saying two things. So
I know.
I know, and so I want to
It's so
see
hard.
which one you want to have the public see in the podcast, and we'll start over with it. Okay,
Okay.
just in case, because I don't
Yeah.
want you to go back and go, oh shit, why'd I say that? So, what do you say to the people who had the information? You talked to them, or somebody talked to them, but they still voted for this administration. What do you say to them? Because now they're starting to suffer the consequences.
I have a lot to say to them because we had all the information. We have all the information at our fingertips. And unfortunately for them, but for all of us, they made the very wrong choice. And now we're all going to suffer for it. And on the one hand, I am completely enraged that people could be so willfully ignorant and or even if they knowingly voted for it and said, well, I don't care if other people get harmed. I'll be fine. I have a lot of animosity towards those folks. But at the same time, as a person of privilege, white woman, I think that I need to like collect my people because the majority of white women voted for Trump. I think it's my responsibility to like collect my people and just say, okay, now that you're here, now that you're back to reality, now that you have learned and grown, let's keep that momentum going. I don't begrudge anybody their righteous anger and rage at people who supported this administration
Right.
and who are still
But
supporting
I like
it.
what you say. To collect, we need to collect our people.
Exactly.
We need to collect anybody who's starting to show an inkling of what they hadn't seen before or what they weren't willing to look at before.
Yeah.
And I think, this is getting back to what I was saying, that there is a momentum now that is growing because it's affecting so many people, including the white women, including, people who voted for religious reasons, thinking that he was a Christian and that he would I know, and that he would be against abortion.
Yeah.
They honestly believed that. And now, their uncle has been deported and they're suffering as a family.
Yeah.
And they just didn't know. They just didn't want to know.
They didn't care or they didn't want to know. I have to
there's
believe that
there's other
people knew.
prejudices too, though, because Kamala, as a black woman, this country is so racist.
100%.
We just have to be completely aware of the fact that there were people all over our nation who, even if she had been nominated and won the primary rather than brought in
Yeah.
later,
Yeah.
they wouldn't have voted
never
for her
would have.
because she's black and because she's a
Yep.
woman and on and on. And America, when they talk about, we're American exceptionalism, we're exceptional in the fact that we still do stuff like that and other, leading nations of the world don't. Other leading nations of the world do elect women as leaders, so we still have a lot of growing to do.
Yes.
But that's where both you and I come in with talking to the public. And that's where we go to these protests. That's where we send out the postcards and we just do whatever we can because we know that it's important and we're going to help other people see it's important.
Yeah.
And even the ones who unfortunately don't see the importance of it until it crashes into their own home. That's just the way it's going to be, and we're going to scoop them up too. That's my feeling anyway.
Yeah.
I'll keep tabling my disgust, and I will scoop them up, and I'll say, welcome to the party, and let's do this.
Yeah.
Let's make this happen. And I think it's really important that you close by saying how wonderful it's been for you to keep being public after having not been for so long.
Yeah.
Because I think it'll encourage other people.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to talk about that just because I grew up in the DC area. I've been politically active pretty much my whole life.
Yeah.
But never, like, social media has made it different, where if you're speaking on camera and you're publishing videos from you, and it's public, it opens you up to a whole new world of like attention and engagement, but also scary things. Exposure. Yeah, exposure, but on the other side of that, kind of scary things.
Yeah.
But since this thing happened and I made all my social media public.
Alito.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I changed all of my social media to public, and I'm sharing things with like national media organizations, and I just feel more powerful than ever, more emboldened than ever. I think it's so important for all of us to try to have that type of bravery, I guess, to speak publicly about these issues that matter so much and are going to affect all of us and our children and our children's children. And we all have to do our part. And even if it's not being public, there are things that people can do in their everyday life to resist this administration. I mean, you mentioned the school. Like, each and every one of us has the ability in our own little universe to fight back against,
like the postcard writing or the phone calling.
No action is too small.
Yeah.
And most importantly, we need to talk to our friends and family and relatives. I mean, education is really important, and there are so many people in this country who have been victimized by this entire disinformation campaign of the Republican Party for the last 20 years, probably longer.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of work to do, but we have to do it because I want to live in a democracy. I don't want to live in a theocratic, Christian nationalist, authoritarian state.
And I think there are a lot of people who would be much happier living in a democracy, more than they even know.
Yes.
Because they've always had it. They haven't had it taken away.
Exactly.
Oh, Emily, thanks so much for coming and talking with me about all of this. And thank you for doing the work you do every day. It's just really, really important. So we'll keep doing it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Anita Casalina, host of the podcast Navigating, where I talk with people about how they are finding their way through these challenging times. Navigating couldn't happen without you, so please be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, which you can find by searching Navigating Podcast or with the links we provide in every episode description and social media bio. And if you're subscribed now, you may want to turn on the bell for notifications of the latest episodes and clips. If you like Navigating, let us know. Tell us in the comments and share with your friends. All of this helps Navigating continue to grow so we can bring you more valuable conversations. And as always, thanks so much for watching.